not to miss any great moment for your spiritual and integral development. You can now watch Luntha TV via Zuku, Channel 51 and StarSat, Channel 474.
Luntha TV.
Luntha Television, bringing wisdom into your home.
You're watching Luntha Television and it's time for news. Today you are with me, Helbert. Got out of stories. Pope Francis reflects on the importance of grandparents. Parliamentary Committee on Health recommends review of Mental Health Act of 1948. And in sports news, Aquatic Sports Complex takes shape in Lilongwe. While we have these and more, do stay tuned in. The Catholic Church leader, Pope Francis, reflected on the important role of grandparents in passing down the faith and highlighted the need to preserve the memory of those who preceded Christians during Mass, which was celebrated at the Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton on Tuesday, the feast of St. Joachim and Annie. In his homily, the Holy Father invited everyone to think about their own grandparents as the Church celebrates the feast day of Saints Joachim and Annie, in whose home the child Jesus Christ came to know his relatives and experienced rather the closeness, tender love, and wisdom of his grandparents. Bridget Monoga reading a Vatican News report.
On the second day of his 5-day penitential pilgrimage to Canada, Pope Francis presided over the Holy Mass at the Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton with the presence of the faithful. He highlighted that we are children of a history that needs to be preserved, not isolated individuals, as no one comes into the world detached from others. Thus, our roots and families in which we grew up are part of a unique history that preceded us and gave us life. According to the Pope, we are descendants of those who went before us, and their inheritance, in which is centered on righteousness, fidelity to God and His will, saying we are here thanks to our parents, but also thanks to our grandparents who helped us feel welcome in this world. The Holy Father added that they are the ones who love us unconditionally without expecting anything back. Thanks to them, we receive a caress from the history that preceded us. We learned that goodness, tender love, and wisdom are the solid roots of humanity. Further appreciating grandparents, the Pope said it is in their homes that many of us breathed in the fragrance of the gospel and discovered a familiar faith through affection, encouragement, care, and closeness. He pointed out that it is in this way that Joachim and Annie loved Mary, and how Mary in turn loved Jesus with a love that never smoothed him or held him back.
The Parliamentary Committee on Health has pleaded to government through relevant ministries to review the Mental Health Act of 1948 in view of the rise in mental health issues in the country. This comes as Zomba Mental Hospital receives more patients following closure of the psychiatric unit at Baida Hospital, and that despite the hospital's bed capacity being 400, it was receiving and admitting about 150,000 to 2,000 patients per year. The report says, among others, since the Act recommends that all mental health patients be treated at Zomba Mental Hospital, its review would have been fast-track the process of recommending that each region has its own mental health hospital. Tandu Mzumara reports.
According to Ngwale, during visits, the committee embarked on various health facilities across the country, including Zomba Mental Hospital, to appreciate delivery of healthcare services and challenges encountered. It established that the facility received more patients following closure of the psychiatric unit at Boela Hospital, and that despite the hospital's bed capacity being 400, it was receiving and admitting about 1,500 to 2,000 patients per year. Wale went further to note that the mental hospital was operating using old legislation, specifically the Mental Health Act of 1948, hence calling for government through relevant ministries to fast-track the review of the Mental Health Act in view of the rise in mental health issues in the country and also challenges faced by the Zomba Mental Hospital.
The Mental Act of the 1948, I think, is the one that recommended that all patients should be treated at Zomba Central Hospital. And therefore, at the time, there were very few people, and at the time, mental issues were not very serious. But now we have a different scenario altogether. So we need to look at that act and bring it to Parliament to change certain things. For example, to recommend probably that each region should have a mental health hospital, to recommend that the district hospitals should have a unit for mental care. All those things need to be brought in the new act, which will come to Parliament.
Among other things, the committee has also recommended public awareness campaigns and community involvement as key in winning the fight on mental health to ensure the reduction in stigma. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Tandiwe Nzumara.
A group of some civil society organizations has announced it will hold nationwide demonstrations tomorrow in a bid to force President Lazarus Chakwera to trim presidential powers. The organization's Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative, Center for Democracy Watch, Social Revolution Movement, and other human rights bodies want Chakwera to move the system to amend Section 91 of the Constitution, which shields first citizens from criminal prosecution while in office. The civil rights groups have told journalists in Lilongwe that Chakwera should move to remove the immunity as he promised during campaign period. In an interview, seated executive director said all is set for first wave of nationwide demonstrations in the country's major cities and other districts. Namiwa explains more.
It's set, as I'm talking to you now, demonstrations are on in 9 districts. We have had technical hitches, and in some instances, the state apparatus had raised some concerns. So as a law-abiding by citizens, we had to give in. We had to make some compromises, but all is set as announced. We are going to have phase 1 of the national demonstrations tomorrow, that is the 28th of July 2022. We are known by the banner Action Against Impunity. We want to set a precedent that the politicians should no longer take Malawians for granted. Whatever they promise us prior to voting is packed in what is known as social contract. Therefore, when someone is ushered into office, they should abide by such contract.
Democratic Progressive Party top politician Pastor James Brown Pingagira, popularly known as BJ in political spheres, has dumped the party and joined the ruling Malawi Congress Party. Apparently, the move is a desperate effort to woo support from the Lomwe belt for MCP ahead of the 2025 polls. BJ was one of the founders of UDF before forming his own party NDA, and later joined PP and DPP in that order before now settling for MCP. Well, you're still watching news on Luntha television, coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center in Area 2, Lilongwe. Now let's have another look at the top stories before we proceed. Pope Francis reflects on the importance of grandparents. Parliamentary Committee on Health recommends review of Mental Health Act of 1948. And in sports news, Aquatic Sports Complex takes shape in Lilongwe. Moving on, Minister of Gender, Community Development and Social Welfare, Patricia Gariati, has challenged parents to start taking a full responsibility of their children in order to reduce a number of children loitering in the country streets. The minister made the call when she chaired One Step Foundation Executive Director Moses Marabu during a fundraising activity to raise funds for support education for street-connected children. Galiati hinted that all incompetent parents will be jailed for not taking good care of their children, whom they freely choose to bear. Bernard Mwanza reports.
The minister has made the remarks following a fundraising activity that One Step Foundation has launched to find money that shall go towards supporting secondary education for some of the street-connected children in the country. She said such children are being found in the streets following hardships in their respective families, which means their parents are incapable to raise them. Honorable Kaliati further added that if parents know that they cannot raise their children well, they should not rush in bearing them until they are capable. Commenting on the fundraising, the minister called on all well-wishers, including the corporate world, to join hands in educating such children for a better future.
Some of the secondary schools like Chaminade, that's in the northern region, Deza, Zenza, that's in Lilongwe, Zomba, Aban in Zomba, Malosa, in Zomba, Robert Blakes in the north, Mulungu Secondary School, St. John's Bosco in Lilongwe. We have Kipasula, Chisapo, Chimutu, Nkwikirikun. Where World Vision is working in Lilongwe, we are looking forward to see World Vision supporting us. What is it that we don't to get the monies? We are looking forward to see to them that they go straight to the schools and pay for the school fees, so that we clean up the cities, we send the children to school.
Later, the minister asked Malabu to call off the activity that he planned to keep standing at the city center roundabout and engage the ministry for alternative means to source funds. Malabu said he is optimistic that this will bear much intended fruits to get more funds in order to see such children not getting back to the streets.
For individuals, they can continue paying school fees through by paying direct to the institution's account. For example, if you want to pay to Chibaswa Central School, you come to us, or either you can call so that we can give you the details for Chibaswa Central School. If you have got details already for Chibaswa Central School, or either any other schools like St. Mary's, Chaminade, and so on, you can just pay and give us a receipt.
Meanwhile, the ministry has also warned bar owners who accommodate underage children in their business places that they will be arrested forthwith. Convention on the Rights of the Child states that children should live in stable, loving and nurturing environments with proper health care and nutrition, and provided equal opportunities to live in dignity and freedom. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I am Bernard Mwanza.
electricity generation company Genco has disclosed its plans of commencing rehabilitation works of the damaged 130 megawatts Kabichira power station that was destroyed by Tropical Storm Anna earlier this year. The development follows the approval from the World Bank for the power generator to secure $60 million aimed at investing in the restoration of Kabichira Dam. Spokesperson for Genco Moses Gwaza said restoration works will commence in September this year. And now in news from elsewhere, civil servants in Zimbabwe have begun a 2-day strike to demand pay increases. Among other things, they also want their salaries to be paid in US dollars as the local currency rapidly devalues. Reports indicate that government is doubling salaries this month, but unions say the increases have been eroded by high inflation, which stands about 190%. Schools, healthy facilities and government services could face major disruptions as unions say they expect all workers to stay at home. But the strike does not seem to have been well observed, with teachers seeming to be at work. And now in sports news, the International Aquatic Sports Association has approved the systematics for the Olympic standard swimming pool that is under construction at Kamuzu Institute for Sports. According to the director in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Mr. Jameson Drama, the approval of the facility was the major cause for the delay in construction of the facility. King Major Gamendo reports.
According to the Minister of Youth and Sports Director, Mr. Jameson Ndarama, the approval of the swimming pool plans was the major cause of the delay in the project. He said following the approval, the construction of the facility is now at full throttle and will be completed by October. Mr. Ndarama said the notable change in as far as the construction of a facility is concerned is that they have been advised that they cannot construct the main pool and have another small one for training at the same spot. He said with that, the training pool will be removed and instead the area will now be used to install heaters, pumps and tanks. Meanwhile, according to Ndarama, work at the Griffin Saenda Indoor Sports Complex, which is also earmarked for the Region 5 Games, is also expected to be concluded by October. Apart from the Kamuzu Institute for Sports swimming pool and the Griffin Saenda Indoor Sports Complex, the Bingu International Convention Center will host gymnastics, boxing and taekwondo, while Bingu National Stadium will host athletics and football matches. The African Bible College will host basketball, while Silver Stadium and Silver Stadium have been earmarked for under-17 girls and boys football tournaments. Government is also expected to renovate Silver and Silver Stadiums in readiness for football tournaments. Mr. Ndarama has said as for the two venues, the main concern is the playing surface, which need to be rehabilitated. The Region 5 Football Tournament Director, Gomizani Zakazaka, who is also Football Association Malawi Competitions and Communications Director, said they will inspect the football facilities to ensure they are ready to host the event. Last month, the African Union Sports Council delegation, led by Chairperson Dennis Mombera and Chief Executive Officer Sanne Mutoya, toured the facilities and expressed optimism that Malawi will be ready to host the event scheduled for December 2nd to 11th. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is King Major Kamwendo.
Well, that also concludes our today's news bulletin, but before we go, a reminder of our top stories. Pope Francis reflects on the importance of grandparents. Parliamentary Committee on Health recommends review of Mental Health Act of 1948. And in sports news, Aquatic Sports Complex takes shape in Lilongwe. My name is Hilbert Katanda. Thanks for watching, and it's goodbye for now.